Hello and welcome again. This is Don Carlo coming out of the Berkshires with another review. So, this is a pen review tonight. And tonight I'm going to be discussing the Vanishing Point, the Pilot Vanishing Point. It's funny. I bought a Vanishing Point years and so many years ago, and I did like it. Um, I wasn't using it so much, and I went through a period of unemployment, so I decided to sell it. I was in love with the pen because it was all black. It had like the matte black finish. It was all black. And at the time, it did something unique. Even the um, 18 karat solid gold nib was ionized black, which now they're kind of doing standard on a lot of different pens, and you can buy the adapter separately, that the insert separately in different nib sizes and stuff, which is excellent. But at the time, that was really a unique thing to ionize the nib black. So I had a vanishing point that was all matte, and I did enjoy writing with it. I didn't use it a whole lot, especially at work. I mean, as much as this pen can be used in the workplace. I just wasn't carrying it much. Back then, I was probably doing security when I bought it. Now I work in a hospital, and I do use fountain pens at my desk in the hospital. It's just a different field. Yeah, and I went through, some hard times, some unemployment, and I sold my matte black Vanishing Point. And recently, I do a lot of charting at night. Now that I work in a hospital and I'm a telemetry monitor technician, I'm watching patients' hearts all night and I'm taking notes and taking measurements. I do a lot of writing. I've gotten back into fountain pens. And I have a few fountain pens. I have probably several on this channel that I haven't reviewed yet. I did review one pen that I really love using at work, which is the Baron Fig. The Baron Fig all brass. Oh, such a it's a lovely pen. And I enjoy it at work. Honestly, I don't know what my obsession is with buying more pens. I mean, this one does get the job done. I think one of my problems with Baron Fig is even though they don't admit it, they keep like saying how American they are, but they're not American made. They do not say they're American made. It's just American design, American concept. Barrel probably made in China, but the ink is Schmidt, and Schmidt only comes in only a few colors: blue, black, green, maybe red. I don't know. But, I'm at an age where, like, I like to play with colors. I like to have a rare color. But I'll get into that later in this video. But anyway, yeah, ballpoints and gels and this and that. I've gone through phases. I'm a pen nut. If you're watching this video, you're a pen nut too. But anyway, I don't know. What happened was, I'll tell you the truth. What happened was, as far as fountain pens, I'm gonna put my Vanishing Point away for a second. This was the one of the last fountain pens that I recently bought. So I bought the Pilot Custom 823. Fantastic pen. I think I might have even reviewed it, and how I'm still sad that I went with the shadow instead. It's so hard to see the ink level in it through this dark shadow instead of going with the nice, beautiful amber. But, I'm really on the fence about buying an amber one, and maybe an amber one in a medium nib, which in this review, this is a medium nib. All the limited editions come in medium nib. The fine's a little too fine for me. But yeah, this one's in. So I used this at work, and I enjoyed it. It took too long to get the cap off. 1.5 twist. I'm working in a busy hospital. It took too long to get the cap off. And I was looking at other reviews, and then the next pen I purchased was the Lamy 2000 fountain pen. You just pull it off. And this came in a German medium nib. I bought the medium nib, and I think I made a mistake there. It blotches a lot. It gets very thick. I don't like using it at work. On cheap paper, it really gets blotchy and thick and gross looking, And the window, though usable to try and see the ink level, is not absolutely ideal. So, anyway, I bought this one. And then I started thinking in my head, and even this, I'm answering the phone, I've got one hand, I'm trying to take notes. A fountain pen gets to be difficult in the workplace if you're answering phones and people are talking to you and you're trying to write something down. And I remembered I used to have the Vanishing Point, the Vanishing Point pen, and I started looking into them. And I see some number of years ago they started doing limited editions. And well, of course that intrigued the collector interest in me because I collect watches and I collect other things. Just as a shout out, I'm wearing my Seiko Laurel with the solid sterling silver case and 18 karat gold bezel, solid 18 karat gold. It's upside down to you people, but I don't really have a way to twist it around to where you can see it upright. Unless I took it off my wrist, and this is not a watch review, so I will not be doing that. But anyway, yeah. So now that I've been using fountain pens at work again, I came back to examining the thought that maybe the vanishing point might be ideal at the hospital, like I said. And just like I said in my video, including the Baron Figs, which I love the Baron Figs because, like I said, I have a designated pocket that's the shape of a pen. So even though this doesn't have a pocket clip, I can just pull it out. Even one hand, I can twist the mechanism, jot a note, put it back, and shove it back in my pocket. I could do that all night long, all night long, really fast. And the positive click of this is really kind of fun to just sit there at the desk and play with. I think the limitation of inks, being a pen nut like we are, the limitation of blue, black, maybe green, maybe red, just a few primary colors is kind of killing it with me with this pen. I must admit, I do like the blue, and that's what I use with this, but the blue it's not your standard kind of lighter blue. It's more like almost on the verge of a navy blue. Sometimes it comes out very blackish, very darkish. But the cartridge edge starts to run low, starts to act funny. I mean, and it's a very large cartridge. Anyway, we're not reviewing this pen. I might have to re-review it with my nitpicks. But anyway, so back to the fountain pen. So yeah, I was, like I said, I I was carrying my Pilot Custom 823, absolutely magnificent pen. I understand all the reviews out there calling it a one and done, that you can own this fountain pen and it could be the only one pen in your collection. Two things I would stress if you were going to go that route. Do not get the Japanese fine nib, not as an American, not if you're in America. Um, it's fine. It's very fine. And that's the point. It's not actually fine. It would be more like an American very fine. It's a very thin, weak, delicate line. It's not very bold for signing things. It really doesn't stand out. And this is a Pilot pen, and it comes in a medium. So, I'd say definitely go medium to bold if you're dealing with the Japanese, if you're an American. So yeah, I started out using this pen, and my big qualm with my only qualm with this pen, other than the really fine nib that I selected, and the very shadowy dark, you have to hold it up to a bright light to see the ink moving in it, instead of having that beautiful amber where you could just see the ink sloshing back and forth. But this is an exhibition pen. There's no way you're gonna see it on camera, but you kind of can. It, It's so dark, but you can actually see the ink moving because it's all translucent. Yeah. So between the fact that the fine nib irritating me and trying to answer the phone, hold it, and do 1.5 twists to get the cap off, which it's a great pen for writing. I don't think I'm going to be getting rid of it out of my collection. I'll still use it for fine writing. So yeah, getting back to the story of the review of this pen, which is already running on 10 minutes and with a lot of sidetracks. Um, I went back and I gave the Lamy 2000 a shot again. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually own another Lamy 2000 to be funny, which is like the ballpoint Lamy 2000 clicker. But again, the thing I hate about the Lamy 2000 clicker is it you have to use the Lamy ink that goes in this pen, and it's not the smoothest ink in the world. It's very reliable. Don't get me wrong. It's never gonna hard start or anything like that. So I have two Lamy 2000s. That's the sad part. I actually have a ballpoint that I bought a while ago. Very good click and all that. But so yeah, I own two Lamy 2000s. Uh, but the choice of ink is limited to the Lamy's refills for this pen, and they're very subpar. They're very subpar. They just don't do it for me. They don't do it for me at all. So anyway, so yeah, after my Pilot Custom A23, I gave the Lamy 2000 fountain pen a shot in medium nib. With the Germans, I probably should have went fine. I hate to say it. At least at work. I mean, at home, I might like a nice bold, thick line. I mean, the German medium is almost bold, in my opinion, and it blotches a lot, it feathers a lot on all the stuff at the hospital I'm working on. Just not loving carrying it at work. And again, still, I'm trying to answer the phone one hand. It's not a one-handed pen. You still have to pull it and post it. So I get to the point where when the phone rings, I imagine I'm probably gonna have to write a note. So I grab a piece of scrap paper and I uncap it, let the phone ring 2 or 3 times, and then I pick it up, answer it, and then I'm ready to write. Yeah, no, I mean the Lamy 2000 is an amazing pen. I'm just trying to hone on the one that's actually right for me. So yeah, so after the custom A23 didn't fit my needs of work, after the Baron Fig, and after the Lamy 2000 fountain pen, I came back around to the Vanishing Point. I remembered owning a Vanishing Point. It didn't fit my life as a security officer, putting in a security uniform, wrestling around this and that and just filling out official forms. But at the hospital, I think it'll do quite well. So I bought this pen for my hospital desk job. Like I said, answering the phone. And with the clip by the point, it's no problem to pull it out of the pocket in one hand and click it, and it's ready to start writing. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I did bring this to work with me the day that it arrived. It arrived in the morning before I left for work, and I was excited, and I tried to load it with ink, and I got it partly filled, and I brought it to work. But all day long, it was like stuttering and certain loops it wouldn't complete on like eights and D's and on zeros it would fade at certain points. I had a dickens of a time. I was like, maybe I'm holding it wrong. I tried to change my hand position and this and that. It's just giving me a hell of a time that day at work. Well, if you don't use the international cartridges that just plug into it with the metal cap, if you actually use, which I love, jars of ink and refilling it myself. If you don't actually fill it correctly, it can feed wrong. If you get any air bubbles in there, you just have to play with it when you're feeding it. If you're using the feed cartridge and using jars of ink, you have to feed it correctly. I examined it tonight when I was messing around with all my fountain pens and refilling them, and I got it. I got it to work just fine. Now it works just fine. Just barely have to hold it, and it's more the way I remember my original matte black. But this is not the matte black, as you could tell by the title. Obviously, you couldn't tell by the grainy video quality of my laptop camera. This is actually a limited edition. So, I'm a collector of watches and pens and all sorts of things. And when I got back into the idea of collecting, I wanted to kind of spruce it up. So I started looking at these limited edition models. And this is the 2020. This is the 2020 Link. And being a limited edition, each year they release these limited editions, you know. And it's so shiny in person. My camera's not doing it justice at all. I need a way better camera. The way it captures the light and reflects it on the guilloche and the texture of it, this really blows away my matte black one. It really does. And once again, they've started standardizing doing ionized black tips. So it's all blacked out. It's got the very shiny guilloche. It's got the matte black pocket clip, and pusher activator. And the tip here. And then they've even ionized the 18 karat solid gold black nib. So yeah, it brings me right back to my matte black, but I love this one so much more, and I jumped on it. Now, there's only a handful of places that still even have these 2020 still available. So if you're interested in one, you better grab it now. I was fortunate enough to grab this off an eBay seller, and I got it for about 260 US, which is $20 under retail. Most retail shops that are still carrying it are at about the $280 mark. But I'm really happy that I kind of went this route. This guilloche is everything it's supposed to be. It really pops and shines. I really enjoy it, and I like the textile feel of it on the fingers as you're holding it and gripping it. Just feeling that bit of texture really makes it worth the while. I probably should have held off on doing this review until I take this to work and do another 12-hour hospital shift with it. Now that the ink is actually flowing right because I filled it correctly. And I got a bunch of ink on my hands trying to get it to fill correctly. Because you have to take the 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 filling mechanism out, and you got to twist it and this and that. But sometimes you have to hold it upright and pull it off completely and make sure that it's filling completely. Because if there's air bubbles trapped, then it's not going to flow correctly when you go to write. I spent an entire night like scratching my head. Am I holding it wrong? Do I have to hold it further back, closer up, on the point? Do I have to twist it? I spent an entire night scratching my head trying to figure out how to get the pen to work right. And in the end, it was the feed. I didn't fill the pen correctly. I was in a rush to get to work. I just sucked some ink up into it, threw it in my pocket, ran to work, and I had a lot of issues that night. I had a lot of issues getting it, stuttering, especially on loops of E's, on eights, on zeros, on cursive D's. I had a lot of issues that night, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I spent nearly $300 on this pen that is sucking so bad." But like I said, I played with it tonight with the ink jar, just twisting it different ways and holding it upright and pulling it out while it still had ink in it, and just making sure I squeezed the air out of it and got it really good and full, but with no bubbles. And now it works fine. Now I can write just fine. So I need to spend another 12-hour shift at the hospital at work with this now that it actually is writing correctly the way I remember it wrote. But also back in the day when I first owned the Vanishing Point, I never bothered with inks. I didn't care. I was in the blacks and blues. I just bought the cartridges, popped them in, and threw the metal cap on, and it wrote just fine all night long. But I'm going a little different these days. I'm not satisfied. I don't. Well, one, I watch all the videos on black, and the reason blue is popular over black is because if you're signing a document, you want to stand out from the rest of the text of the document. So, you want the blue for the signature and the black of the text. But that's kind of boring. Everyone's doing blue, everyone's doing black. So I want different colors. My chosen color to kind of just, a color that represents me that I really enjoy using. I use a British diamine, and if you're into fountain pens and inks, I'm sure you've heard of diamine. My favorite ink is diamine, and it's diamine oxblood, which is a very dark, rich red. It's a very dark, rich red. But yeah, I really enjoy diamine oxblood, and it's got like brown mixed in. And it comes out very dark. It's not like a grating red pen. It's not a light red. It's not light in any way, shape, or form. And I load most of my fountain pens with this diamine ink, which I got on my finger grabbing the bottle because I was refilling all my fountain pens with it. Actually, you can kind of tell it's very dark. It looks like a drop of blood. Looks like I cut my finger, but that was just on the edge of the bottle there when I picked it up. I'm going to have to wipe that off after the video. But, so yeah, if you're buying any vanishing point, and you're using the adapter that you draw the ink into the pen from the well, make sure you're filling it and don't have any air bubbles because you're going to be like punching yourself in the head like, oh my god, what did I do? How do I got to hold this? It's not looping E's and it's not making numeral 8s and O's correctly. It's an air bubble in the feed. You just, like I said, the way I got over that, I kept like emptying it and filling it until it was full and holding it, upright, which this part isn't there. You're just holding the adapter with the pointy nib. And even I pulled the adapter out while it was filled with ink and saw the remaining air and rolled it up to where it went really high and then plugged it back in and then put it back in the jar and sucked more in. I got it really full. You just have to play with it. You have to play with it. You're going to get ink on your fingers. Luckily, most fountain pen inks, they wash off really easy with a little bit of soap and water. So anyway, this video is going kind of long. But now that I got this pen to stop stuttering by filling it correctly, and with that just gorgeous pattern, I really love the pattern. And another thing about all these vanishing points, a lot of them come with shiny chrome clips and end pieces and clickers. I don't like shiny chrome. I really don't. They're going to pick up scratches and marks way faster, way easier, and they're just going to be an eyesore. Someone out there might like shiny mirror finishes. I don't. I like matte finishes. I like satin brushed finishes, because it's not sitting in a box. It's going in my pocket and I'm taking it to work and I'm using it. But yeah, this did spend a 12-hour night with me on the watch, and I don't see a single speck of a mark on it, so it held up pretty well. I tried to watch a lot of reviews to see what the link material is made of. If it's a resin that they Gila shade or what. I can't find any definition of what material they actually used to coat the barrel and then do their machined Gila Shea, but it is so beautiful, and they call it the link, and it really catches the light and bounces it around. It's and it's all black. I really love that. I do enjoy this pen. So yeah, I'm gonna cut this short. Well, short at 25 minutes. I'm gonna end this video now before we hit the 25-minute mark, and that's all I've got. See you next time.